Ever imagine a dance that's like part time machine, part social commentary, and part ancient ritual all in one?
Sounds intense.
It is. Get ready to dive deep because today we're all about Sudanzare and their show, The Last Tarantula.
I've heard of them. They're based in Paris, right?
You got it. Founded back in 2012, and they're all about breathing new life into traditional Italian dances. But here's the thing.
There's always a but. What's the catch?
This isn't just some flashy dance performance. The Last Tarantula digs deep, like way deep, into Italian culture, class struggles, resistance. They even bust a few myths along the way.
Now you've got my attention. And you've got their dossier, right? What's the inside scoop?
Let me tell you, this dossier is incredible. It's clear Sudanzare and their founder, Tullia Conte, are not messing around.
Conte, wasn't she the one behind the, what was it called? Tarantella Cruda?
Yes. And Santarantella, her work's amazing.
Truly groundbreaking stuff. But what's the story with The Last Tarantula?
Well, Conti's the mastermind, and her passion for blending traditional dance with theater, even anthropology, it's contagious. I felt it just reading this dossier.
Anthropology.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I knew her work always had this extra depth to it. So it's more than just dance.
Way more. It's like she's unearthing these hidden stories and translating them into movement. And with The Last Tarantula, it sounds like she's outdone herself.
How so? What makes this one stand out?
Well, she's bringing together dancers from both traditional and contemporary backgrounds.
Really? That's a bold move. I mean, those styles are like night and day.
Right. You'd think their styles would clash, but it sounds like they're creating a whole new language of dance together.
Wow. Okay, now I'm really curious. What's the driving force behind it all? What's the heart of this Last Tarantula?
Well, it all centers around the tarantella, but not the image you might have in your head.
You mean like a whirlwind of skirts and tambourines?
Exactly. Get ready for some myth busting. What we're talking about here is tied to a phenomenon called tarantism.
Tarantism. You're going to have to elaborate on that.
Basically, for centuries, people believed that if a certain type of spider bit you,
Often called a tarantula, hence the name.
you got it. Anyway, they believed that if you were bitten, you'd be overcome with this uncontrollable urge to dance wildly for days.
No way. Seriously. You're telling me people believed a spider bite could make you break into a dance marathon?
Believe it or not, it's true. They thought it was the only cure. There are accounts dating back to the 11th century.
The 11th century? You're kidding? Are we talking like documented medical journals or...
We're talking first-hand accounts. There's even this wild story about the Norman army. They were besieging a city in Sicily when...
Don't tell me. The soldiers got bitten.
You guessed it. They started collapsing left and right, claiming they'd been bitten by these tarantulas.
So you're saying spiders were a tactical advantage in medieval warfare?
Sounds crazy, right?
Absolutely wild. But you're not seriously suggesting that spider venom was the culprit, are you?
Of course not. People eventually started questioning that whole spider bite thing. Anthropologists like Ernesto Di Martino, they did some digging in the 20th century.
Oh, yes. They debunked it.
They discovered tarantism wasn't a medical condition at all. It was a social one.
Okay, hold on. A social condition. What does that even mean?
It means while those symptoms were real,
The anxiety, the restlessness, the dancing.
yeah, all real. But they weren't caused by venom. They were caused by societal pressures, poverty, oppression, you name it.
So are you suggesting that the tarantella was like a form of release?
Exactly. Especially for women who often carried the heaviest burdens.
Wow. To think a dance we might associate with joy and celebration could have such a complex and dark history.
It's pretty fascinating, right? And it makes you wonder how The Last Tarantula incorporates all of this into the performance.
Yeah. They're not exactly going to stage a spider infestation on stage, are they?
Definitely not. But The Last Tarantula uses movement to explore that duality within the tarantella, that push and pull between light and shadow, joy and struggle.
That makes sense. Acknowledging the dance's history while also pushing it in new directions.
And Conti's background in anthropology really comes into play here, drawing those connections between the steps and the stories they tell.
It's like archaeology, but with dance. I like it.
And to make things even more powerful, they've woven in real testimonies from the 1960s, people who actually experienced tarantism firsthand.
Wow. So we're not just watching a dance, we're witnessing like a living, breathing tapestry of history and culture and real human experience. That's powerful.
It really is. It really makes you think about the choreography. How do they actually bring all of this to life on stage?
Well, one thing that jumped out at me from this dossier was Sudanzare's focus on the quality of the movement over like technical perfection.
So it's not about hitting every step perfectly. Interesting. Tell me more about that.
They're way more interested in the essence of the movement, the feeling, the rawness. The dossier mentions their focus on body awareness, rhythm, that connection between the dancers.
Which makes sense, especially with the tarantulla's roots. It's like they're channeling that ancient communal energy. I'm curious, though, how do they actually achieve that? How do you bridge that gap between ancient and modern?
They actually draw a lot of inspiration from Rudolf Laban and Sandra Horton-Frehle.
Big names in dance theory, but how does that play out on stage? I doubt they're handing out textbooks with our tickets.
No textbooks needed. Think about it this way. The way they use space, how the dancers interact, the shifts between stillness and bursts of energy, it's all informed by these theories. And we can't forget about the lighting.
Oh, right. They mentioned Olivier Courtemanche was doing the lighting for The Last Tarantula. He's brilliant. What's the approach?
Well, he's worked with Sudanzare for years, so he really gets their vision.
Yeah.
They describe this journey from darkness to intense light throughout the performance.
It's amazing how lighting can tell a story all on its own. You've got me imagining that shift from dark to light, mirroring the tarantella, the release, the breaking free.
It's super powerful, and they use backlighting to emphasize the dancers' silhouettes. It makes their movements seem even more stark, captivating. Honestly, the visual aspect of The Last Tarantula sounds just as compelling as the choreography itself.
Talk about attention to detail. This is way more than just a dance performance. It sounds like a full-blown experience.
Exactly. And that's what makes Sudanzare so unique. They don't just put on a show. They want to share their knowledge and passion, keep these traditions alive. Remember those workshops I mentioned?
Oh, right. I almost forgot about that. Refresh my memory. What kind of workshops are we talking about?
They offer them for all ages and skill levels, focused on Southern Italian dance traditions. It's like they're saying, come experience this magic for yourselves.
I love that. It's not just about watching, it's about experiencing. It's like they're saying this dance, this history, it's not just theirs, it's everyone's. I'm really impressed by their dedication to keeping those traditions vibrant, accessible.
It's really inspiring. It makes you think about traditional art forms in general and how they stay relevant today. It's like they hold a certain power, a wisdom. They remind us of something we've lost sight of in this crazy modern world.
It makes you wonder if these traditions are more important now than ever. In a world obsessed with the new, there's something so grounding, so human about these art forms that have been passed down.
100%. Even in their dossier, Sudanzare includes this quote by the dancer Kazuo Ono. He talks about how true expression comes from embodying the heart of something, not just imitating the form.
Embodying the heart, that's a powerful image. It really gets at the core of what Sudanzare is doing, don't you think?
Totally. They're taking this dance that's steeped in history, in struggle, in joy, and making it resonate in a way that feels both timeless and incredibly relevant.
So after spending time with this dossier, diving deep into the history of the tarantella, the story of Sudanzare, and the vision behind The Last Tarantula, I have to say, I'm seeing this dance in a whole new light.
I can imagine. It's amazing how a deep dive like this can completely shift your perspective on something you thought you knew.
Right. And for you listening, imagine experiencing The Last Tarantula firsthand. You're not just watching a performance, you're stepping into a world of history, passion, and raw human emotion, all channeled through the power of movement.
It's like that quote from Helene Vanel that they included in the dossier. She called dance the vertigo of matter.
Yeah.
It sounds abstract, but when you think about it in the context of everything we've discussed, it just clicks.
Vertigo of matter, I love that. There's a sense of danger, excitement, and complete surrender to the moment. It really captures the essence of what Sudanzare is trying to achieve.
And they're doing it by honoring the past while pushing boundaries, making space for tradition and innovation to coexist. It's a powerful reminder that art can be a bridge between who we were, who we are, and who we might become.
Beautifully said. And it leaves us with a question for you to ponder. How do you think traditional art forms can remain relevant in today's world? What other cultural practices might hold deeper meanings waiting to be uncovered?
It's something to think about, isn't it? In a world that's constantly evolving, these traditions offer a connection to something timeless, something deeply human.
And who knows, maybe exploring those traditions will inspire you to try something new, to see the world with fresh eyes. That's the beauty of a deep dive like this, isn't it?
Absolutely. It sparks curiosity. It encourages us to look closer, to question what we think we know, and to embrace the unknown.
Well said. For those of you listening who want to learn more about The Last Tarantula and Sudanzare's incredible work, we encourage you to check out their website. They even have some captivating video clips that give you a taste of their artistry.
And remember, The world is full of fascinating stories and hidden connections just waiting to be discovered, so stay curious.
This has been The Deep Dive. Until next time, keep exploring.